Welcome to Claris Engage. I'm Hassell Moreno, and I help run the most clever, most geeky, yet still most socially well-adapted teams of coders in the world at SmallCo. People like Rosalind Martir, and I'm very proud to announce our project manager, Susan Arvid Prosser, who is not on the call today, but we do have our previous project manager, Jana Hiram Alvarez. Okay, so SmallCo has built a suite of apps called the Big Dig, which is a construction fleet manager. And this is the first of 3 sessions on how we built it. In future sessions, Saman Sheikh and Ado Erkochevich will lead a group of coders on a series of deep dives into the code. But first of all, in this session, I'll explain how we bring together a team of 15 SmallCosians, along with dozens of staff at our customer sites to make it work. There I am with my teammates who helped me write the goal spec for the Big Dig, Jana Hiram Alvarez and Anya Stojanovic. A bit later, you'll see the other half of the goal spec team, and those are the people we serve at our client's business. People who run heavy equipment, fuel and maintain the vehicles, repair them when they break down, and the folks who run the business. For the Big Dig, our client teammates include a half a dozen people at Domisem, which is a giant cement factory in the Dominican Republic, and staff and management at a 60-person team based in Tampa, Florida, and they're also deployed at sites in southeastern United States. Who am I anyway? I run SmallCo with my god sister Jana. I sign the checks, and the relationships with our biggest clients and vendors are managed by me. I'm also the one who organizes our worldwide events. The SmallCo team gets together a few times a year, and last year I ran a FileMaker conference called Pause on Error in Tulum, Mexico. We also got together in Venice, Rome, Belgrade, New York, and Miami. And I managed my godfather, Albert Hiram Alvarez's trip around the world in 2019 to teach masterclass in Bologna, Denmark, Belgrade, and Sydney, Australia. And this photo here shows us in Sag Harbor, Long Island, where we gathered last November to work on the Big Dig app.
And this looks like a lot of fun because it was. And let me tell you, this team really does know how to have fun, but truly there's a lot of method to the madness of running a team like this, and a good goal spec is very much at the heart of it.
And so now, with a little help from my friends Jana and Rosalie, we'll explain to you a bit about how the goal spec works.
Hi everyone, here is our Google Doc, which we shared with our wonderful client, John Woolwin, so he could contribute directly to the spec. With his help, we captured the business goals as well as the personal goals by role of the people who work with our client. You can see the roles here. We have Fred, the formidable foreman, Betty, the bookkeeper, Sergio, the site staff manager, Eric, the efficient fleet manager, and many more. These are not actually the names of the staff members because we got to put some distance between them and these roles.
A small cautionary tale from SmallCo history. There was a dear lady, may she rest in peace, who built much of the data tables for a solution that we took over. So the database ended up with a very large set of fields whose field name started with her initials.
Right. In other words, we want to make sure we listen very carefully to our clients, but we don't want to bake them right into the pie, if you know what I mean.
Exacto. Instead, we actually talk with each other about Fred, the foreman, and Betty, the bookkeeper, and they become embodied participants in our conversations. Like, how would Fred look at this? Or, what does Betty really want to control in this API push to QuickBooks? And what would she really prefer would just happen without her having to think about it?
So even if the actual bookkeeper today at our client is either a tech lover or a technophobe, we're aiming for a more universal representation of the bookkeeper role. including those things that are most likely to be shared across all of our universe of clients.
Exactly.
So pretty much a goals by role document is not a list of job titles. It's a list of people or a list of people at the company or a closed and complete functional spec. It comprehensively describes the goals of the company by role.
It's kind of like playing theater when it comes to understanding who these people are and what they really need.
Yes. It helps our team grok their team. And our motto here at SmallCo is we help your team work.
So Albert says the swan is gliding so gracefully across the pond only because those webbed feet are pumping so hard below the surface. And that's how we do it, with a suite of teamwork apps that keep us gliding along. We use Happy Fox for support tickets, Monday for project management, Google Docs that manage our goals by role and our work estimates and more, Ring Central for phones and Zoom conferencing, and my personal favorite and my best friend, FreshBooks, for time billing. And our process as a whole has a 4-stage process. And here's how it worked for the Big Dig. So you recall, we start with a goal spec that we develop in cooperation with our clients. Our team documents it all in the goal spec, and then we hand that document off to the designers and coders who build the app. When they've got something that they can work with, we test the apps under real world circumstances. And after addressing the issues that come up, we deliver to the client. And so that 4-step process circle is complete. And it looks pretty easy, but it's pretty simple in a way, but it does take management. And this project started out being led out by my godfather, Albert, and my godsister, Jana. But now we are extremely proud to announce that the amazing Susan Prosser is guiding the Big Dig project. So that's pretty exciting. And also Anya has run the Walkaround Checklist work. So we've already seen that the goal spec itself is written in Google Docs. And we use that shared document as a vehicle for us to team up with our client. We also create Google Sheets that keep us on the same page, like this one that lists the apps by role.
And this one's nice because in one sheet, we can see all the distinct apps that make up the Big Dig listed across the top. And then at the left, we can keep track of which role will use which app.
That's correct. We can also keep track of what role each SmallCosian is playing for each app. So for instance, for most of these apps, Hassell is a client champion. Woohoo! But Anja was a client champion for QuickBooks API for time cards. And their JavaScript map designer, Tomas in Budapest and Vincenzo in Milan, can quickly find their way here as well in terms of their role, but also in terms of understanding the roles for people using their JavaScript tool.
Also, as a PM coming in, you can kind of see the percentage done here, and so it helps you keep track of your progress and how much left you have to do. So it's a pretty handy tool.
The individual steps we take are managed in Monday, and I don't mean the day, I mean the app. As you can see here, coding and API work, testing and delivery to the client, and all that fun stuff we love to do.
So that's a brief look at some of the tools that we use to work together. Sometimes we're together eating lobster rolls in Long Island or barbecue in Belgrade, which is my favorite. But for the most part, these are the tools that keep us in sync no matter where we are. And more than any other tool, it's the goal spec that allows us to maintain our focus on serving our clients. So now let's take a closer look at how our goal spec guided us as we built the apps that make up the Big Dig. So when you're working on a team, there's a lot that you can share with your teammates. You all know about the big jobs that are going on, but you have a perspective that is unique to your position, to your role. And the job card is a list of jobs that anyone might look at, but the foreman might have a special interest in which machines are running right now and who has completed their walk-around checklist before they started their workday. You can see that here. And also, operations might want to know which sites are being slowed by rainstorms.
It's kind of like a superpower.
So you may know that once Komatsu loader is due for preventive maintenance. And so you've been watching the aerometer, which is the number that counts the hours that a machine has been running. And our guys, Salman, Dave, and Milan, have pulled that number straight from the machine via API. Yes. Mm-hmm. And they've got the API working for Volvo, John Deere, Caterpillar, and Komatsu. For more information on that really cool aspect of the app, watch part 2 of this set of sessions, which someone will offer next.
Okay, but you might also just want whatever pertinent date log info is available for the site. And so Anja listed the most recent fixed log entries here. And she also added which machines have been recently moved to or from this job site.
Yes, so Johnson Gray and Andrew, who heads up operations, has also been great and helpful. And his role is truly complex. So I'm not surprised that his ordering screen is rich with information.
There is a lot here. Multiple outstanding orders, partial fulfillment of those orders, a peek at how orders that arrive at the main yard will get sent out to the job sites that need the parts, but it still doesn't overwhelm. There's a nice rhythm to the layout, and like Hazel said, it's all the same layout.
Yes, and you go, girl, because you came up with that, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
And then I think going to the time card slide, this little control is a mode switch crossed with some filter settings and matching sorted summaries. And there's plenty that could have gone wrong here, but it's a pretty seamless match with what the operations and yard managers need.
Yes, so let's take a closer look. I'm the yard manager, and an order has been partially fulfilled. If it's super busy, I might just keep the inbound shipment I'm receiving. But the yard isn't that big, so I might have a chance to go put the item all the way into the stock. This cute little popover lines right up with the place that counts will go. And when I click the appropriate button, the arithmetic is all done for me. So restock, done.
Pretty cool, right? And Anja and Albert worked up something similar for when foremen are confirming their accounts, this time with a slick as heck little transparent popover. Here's the goal by role that pushed them to come up with this awesome approach. When you're taking inventory, sometimes you have to update the count for an item. But pretty often the count is the same as it was the last time you counted. But you want the freshness date, right, on that count to be updated to today. It feels kind of silly to tap into the field that has a number 4 in it and then go back to the selector card and tap the 4 again. Feels stupid even if it's really cool selector card for the count.
Right. So what the designers came up with was this popover message with a transparent moonroof right in the middle of it. I then say effectively, yes, I want to confirm that still today on this Wednesday, there are 4 of these bedliners here in the trailer. So I tap here and then the freshness date updates. Wait, and here's a little secret. The goal spec didn't tell us to render these awesome details, at least not directly. What happened was, by faithfully attending to the goal spec and by repeatedly invoking the name of Fred the formidable foreman, and by conjuring Betty the bookkeeper into our midst for the 100th time, these design details began to be visible to us.
Yeah, and so let's get back to Betty the bookkeeper and another one of my personal favorites, the spend log.
Cha-ching. Right. So I'm Betty the bookkeeper, and when I receive these expenses, I think in terms of days. Like I know Peter, the president, is flying to Fayetteville, and Fed, the formidable foreman, is taking his team to Tuscaloosa. So on those days, I can expect some receipts from the airport and some gas and sandwiches from the Wawa that Freddie stops at.
Yeah, so we trust our guys and all, but we need to see if they sent us a note written on the receipt to tell us if this send goes to a particular job. Just a reminder, this is one of the APIs that uses the ETL, extract, transform, and load that Salman will be explaining in our part 2. But this one was built by Fabian and Yakov, which is some of the guys in our Braille Great team.
Yeah. So this is another clean and rather spare design with a data focus again, but there's also a sharp focus on exactly the things that Betty the bookkeeper is concerned with. We get to see with some color coding if the specific merchant is new and if the job number is one that we can match.
This helps promote valid data. And at times like this, with her spend log, Betty is in data validation mode. She's into it.
So Albert might say that some interfaces get into data validation mode and never leave. The thing is that that's important to see is that, okay, this particular screen is really obviously big time focused on valid data with the color coding and all, but virtually everything else we've shown is strong on validating data also. The designs just do it without shouting data validation mode.
Right. They do it in a way that fits the role of the person using the app.
And isn't that exactly what goals by role are all about?
Yep. And now just one more app to discuss. The first bits of the Big Dig were built in 2015 for deployment in a pit mine in the Dominican Republic. And back in the day, it was so cool to scan with a mobile app, to tap on the aerometer, log fuel use, and even log the weight of the mine rock, arcilla y caliza. Now, most of that can be pulled directly from the cloud, and that's exactly what the Big Dig does. Also, did you know that Volvo Construction Equipment Telematics uses FileMaker as their backend data store for their fleet telematics data? If you didn't, now you know.
And now the Big Dig uses FileMaker as its data store as well for our Walkaround Checklist app, an app built in React Native, running on Android or iOS, and passing data back and forth with the FileMaker data API.
Super cool.
And what role, Ross, did the Goal Spec play in the development of this app?
Well, there's more on the design development of the Walkaround Checklist in Ado's session in part 3 of these sessions on the Big Dig. But I can tell you that the test bed that we set up for the Walkaround turned us some good trouble. We did some out of the house testing, and it was pretty fun just being outside under the sun, clicking on things, getting in trouble, and finding everything that needed to be worked on here.
Right. So Rosalind tested, so did Fabian and Mia on various platforms and under various conditions, like when Fab and Mia were hanging off some playground equipment, pretending to be climbing up to an excavator with one hand and using their phones with the other hand. They kept accidentally hitting the next button.
Yeah, so we made a few changes, including the back behavior and specifically designing to support the built-in back gestures of Android.
And once again, for the final time in this part 1, because we were guided by the Goal Spec. So this was a blast. Thanks, Jana. Gracias, Rosaline. And now you Claris Engagers are ready for something a little more codey, a little less designy. Well, we got just the geeks for you. Remember these small cozians from that small planet where geeks are suave and handsome. And they tell dad jokes. Please be on the lookout for the dad jokes because they are amazing. Salman will show you those fleet telematic numbers. They got onto the job list in the Big Dig, all in the part 2 of how we built this, the Big Dig edition.
And you will find out what ETL stands for.
That's worth tuning in for all by itself.
And then Adnan shows you the surprisingly simple text files that he used to build the walkaround checklist in React Native. And Anya and Milan will join him to shed light on the FileMaker data API, authentication, and more geeky goodness. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all in person very soon, maybe in Lisbon, maybe in Casablanca, or even in Nashville. Until then, we're signing off from Miami and the beautiful San Juan, Puerto Rico. This is Hassell Moreno, Gianna Hiram Alvarez, and Rosalie Martir. We SmallCozian stand and suavely salute you, as only a SmallCozian can. And if you ever need a hand,
we have many.
We have many. Yeah, I'm sure you have many too. You can visit us at smallco.co. And thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cut!
Hi, my name is John Woolwin, president of Crusher Inc. Over the last few years, our company's been able to grow with the help of the Big Dig, a new software designed to maximize efficiency. The Big Dig's functionality covers accounting, payroll, inventory, employee and asset management, daily operations reports, and accountability checklists. Crush has gone all in using the Big Dig software to double in size while maintaining low overhead. The multifunctional dashboards allow for maximum team collaboration and aid in preventative decision-making that keep our operations moving. The software is easy to use and lets our field and office communicate through phone, tablet, and computer. We look forward to further automation and functionality as we continue to use the Big Dig moving forward. Thank you.